I am a Hmong American, born and raised in the United States of America. My families were heavily involved with the US CIA during the secret war of Laos. When we withdrew our troops from Vietnam in the mid-70s, my families were recruited by the CIA and trained to fight the VC or Viet Cong. They did anything and everything from suppressing the VC from reaching Saigon and also rescued many shot down American pilots. For as long as our people can record our history, we've never seen so many widows. Many of our fathers and grandfathers were sacrificed during this war. History reveals that we lost this war. And many of my families fled to neighboring countries, concerned that the new communist government would come hunting for them. Most arrived to Thailand refugee camps in the late 70s. And my family, being one of the first groups to establish United Nations Sok Duan refugee camp, located in the northern east part of Thailand. Here's a photo of my father in jeans and a Hawaiian shirt. Then, in 1979, my family was sponsored and migrated to the United States. I grew up in Sacramento with 8 other siblings in a small and humble home. With very little money, my parents would never allow me to have an aquarium in the house. Then in junior high school, I met a friend named Hugh. He had been raising bettas for a while and introduced me to the hobby. He was kind-hearted and gave me my first betta set and a 10-gallon. I quickly began the process of breeding. Was very successful, but only to the point of raising the fry up to 1 week old, and then they'd start vanishing one by one until everything was gone. I couldn't figure out why and how. After months of trying again and stinking up my room, one day my dad came in to complain about the smell. I told him what I was doing and got the typical Asian parent lecture. "You spoiled brat. I've sacrificed so much for you and this is how you repay me? By playing with some guppies?"
They're not guppies, they're betta fishes.
"I don't care. You need to focus more on school, math, and
But
get rid
wait,
of that tape.
that's a gift from my
You
friend.
will be quiet." Wait, hold on. My dad is not a kung fu master, but he did lecture me. After he was done, he started diagnosing my fry tank. At the time, I was feeding my fry newly hatched brine shrimps, and if you've ever seen a betta fry, they're just as tiny as a brine shrimp. I remember my father disappearing into the kitchen, then later came back with a cooked egg yolk tightly wrapped in an old t-shirt. Without my consent, he dipped the t-shirt into my tank and started squeezing all that nasty yellow yolk milk into my perfect tank. I recall being so angry and frustrated, but I didn't dare challenge him. I remember thinking to myself, what the heck is this old man doing? He has no clue about breeding fishes, and all he does is eat fish. 2, 3, then 4 weeks came by, and all my fries survived. I finally asked my father how he knew about using egg yolk, and that was when I found out that while he was a child living in the refugee camp, he raised wild bettas caught from the rice paddies. It was the thing to do as a kid back then, he said. He explained that wild splendens were as abundant as bluegills and mosquito fishes are here in the States. In addition, that there are 2 kinds of splendens, which at the time made absolutely no sense to me since I was only familiar with longtails. So many wisdom years later, I realized that my dad was referring to the Smardina as the other splendid. I became successful breeding bettas and started trading with Capital Aquarium, a family-owned aquarium business that sadly no longer exists. Gosh, I miss that place. It's still one of the sweetest aquarium stores I've ever stepped foot in. Anyways, my friends and I would bag up my bettas, load them in backpacks, and we'd bike 7 miles to Capital Aquarium. We did this throughout junior high school and high school until we started working real jobs and parted ways. And this was how my relationships with Betta started. All because of one kind friend who was willing to share and a dad who had a ton of experiences with bettas. Since then, I've been back to breeding bettas for the past year now and consider selling local bred, high quality bettas online. Thank you for listening. Happy New Year's and good luck with your business.